When I first heard of WestWorld, I had no interest in it. I didn't have an interest in a show about an amusement park. Then I heard that Jonathan Nolan was involved in the show, and my interest level jumped up a lot because I'm a huge Christopher and Jonathan Nolan fan. Then I watched the first episode, and I have since become completely obsessed with WestWorld. The opening line in WestWorld is, "Have you ever questioned the nature of your reality?" And yes, I have on a daily basis. And this is what I love about this show. It is all about what is consciousness. Who is the observer? The observer is highlighted right from the show's opening when we get a long shot of an eyeball. Our eyeball is our window to our reality. The show is all about consciousness, what it means, what is our purpose. It takes these huge questions that we ask ourselves, these enormous questions that really have no answers, and it has brilliantly put them into a compelling dramatic plot. It is no easy task to take these large questions of life and find a compelling dramatic plot to put them in. A big part of this is from the main concept that they have these artificial intelligent beings, the hosts in the park, to question what is consciousness through. And we see right in the first episode that this is a main topic of the show. Dolores seems to be our main character. She's at least the main host. And we find out in the episode she's actually the original host of the park. And this makes her special. Dolores has a very particular way that she views her world. Dolores sees the beauty in her world. She doesn't focus on the ugliness. She focuses on the beauty. The big question that leaves with our character Dolores is her attitude towards life simply an ignorance is bliss? Or is she really a deep soul who understands, even though life is filled with ugliness and tragedy, we always have the choice to focus on its beauty? That's a very wise attitude. Not sure if Dolores is coming from an ignorance is bliss or that wise perspective. The beginning 15 minutes of the first episode focuses on Dolores and Teddy's story. And although we have an idea that they're robots as it's going along, we're really not sure. And in the midst of this story, while they were staring at the stair, I actually forgot that they were robots, and I felt like I was watching two real characters. They really took their time to lay out Teddy and Dolores' love story. And it's a great love story with a horrible, tragic ending. And in the ending of their story is where we meet the Man in Black. The Man in Black is not given a name. Even on IMDb, he is listed as the Man in Black. But he obviously represents evil. Good and evil were a topic of the show. There were several references to whether people were good or evil. We see the guests are kind of exercising the evil side of them. They're letting out a side of them that isn't really welcomed in civilized society. And so the Man in Black is the epitome of this side of the guests. He goes to the park simply to abuse the hosts, and he enjoys abusing the host. He literally gets off on it, which is one of the things I love about it. We're literally getting two different genres seamlessly mixed into one another. We have the park, which is a Western style drama, and then we have the corporation management, the shareholders, who are more like a kind of sci-fi espionage type of genre. And the jump back and forth is not disturbing at all. It's very seamless. And I love this about the show, that we're getting two very definitive genres mixed in quite well together. In the management side of the business, we see that Ford is the creator and owner of the park. He's a bit mysterious, seems to almost prefer talking to the hosts over humans. Not really sure about that. He definitely keeps to himself. It seems like he has an ulterior motive for something. This came up a couple times. Right when we first meet Bernard and Elsie, and they first start talking about the reveries, Bernard mentions that Ford slipped in some code without telling anybody. Then later on, when Bernard confronts Ford about what's happening to the hosts from the Reveries update, Ford makes a comment that evolution occurred through mistakes. He didn't seem too worried about the mistake, and he didn't seem too concerned about correcting the mistake. He delivers the line that we have stopped evolution and that we're done. The whole conversation almost led me to believe that Ford is purposely putting these reveries in to try to evolve the hosts. There is definitely something going on with these reveries. These reveries will be the main topic or catalyst to the rest of the season. There is trouble brewing in this park, and they are about to have a lot of problems with the host. And it occurs through small stages, but it's what the first episode is really about. It begins with Bernard's mention that the reveries were slipped in without anybody knowing. We immediately after that go to a problem in cold storage, what they think is a problem. Now, it's not actually a problem at this point. It's just Ford talking to one of the older hosts, but still a problem occurred. Now, after this, we get the sheriff breaking down. And there's no real consequences to this, as Bernard highlights. It's just the sheriff broke down. But after the sheriff breaks down, we see Walter lose it in the bar. He goes on a killing spree. And this is outside of his storyline. That although Walter does have multiple storylines to choose from, the storyline that involves murder always ends with him getting killed. But this time he killed his partner. So here we see a continuation of problems in the park and the problems escalating. And then in the end of the episode, we see Peter Abernathy really lose it. It seems almost like he is rebelling against Ford and the park. But then we're given the explanation that all he's really doing is quoting Shakespeare from a character that he used to play in the park that liked to quote Shakespeare. It was really brilliant the way they wrote this scene. I was certain that Peter was about to attack Ford while he was going through this. Something else that really stuck out to me in this last scene with Peter and Ford is that even when Peter seemed to be losing it, Ford never gets he doesn't get nervous at all, not a bit. He has complete confidence that he has control over the hosts and that they will never hurt him. This topic is brought up earlier in the episode between Bernard and Ashley when they talk about whether the host can hurt a person. Ashley doesn't have as much confidence in the host as Bernard does. But we do see in this ending scene that Ford is completely and totally confident that these hosts will not hurt him. We see a fly on the faces of the hosts more than once throughout this episode, and it's great imagery. It actually really creeped me out to see a fly crawling on somebody's face without them reacting to it. And it really gives this sense of lifelessness, of deadness within these hosts. And we see this several times. We see the fly on Dolores' face in the beginning. We see a fly on the sheriff when he's breaking down. We see a fly on Teddy while he's sitting on the porch and the guests are amusing themselves. Then we see a fly on Dolores at the very end of the episode. And this time, Dolores swats the fly. This is a big signal for us as to what we can expect in future episodes. And we know that Dolores is special. We know that she's the oldest host in the park. And we just saw her react to something in a way that a person with consciousness would. In a way that the hosts were not acting before. So this last shot in the ending is really significant. Another point about Dolores is we see that the opening shot when she's being questioned by the voice of Bernard and the closing when she's being questioned by Ashley, that Dolores has the same marks on her face. But we never see Bernard in the room with Ashley at the end. And so what we can draw from this is for some reason, after everybody had finished their investigating of this incident, of what happened with Peter and Dolores, that Bernard then went into the room with Dolores and decided to do his own line of questioning. And it's hard to say why Bernard felt that he should do that. But the opening scene that we see where Bernard initiates the questioning with Dolores occurs after the entire episode. It's after Ashley from security questions Dolores, after he tells us that she's special because she's the original. We saw Teddy and Dolores' storyline 3 times throughout the episode. The first time, their storyline goes exactly as it should. They meet each other in town, they have a romantic horse ride, they go back to the ranch is in trouble, Teddy tries to save the day. The second time, guests change the storyline. There's a party who recognizes Teddy. Teddy helped them the last time they were in the park, and they draft Teddy to go with them. And Dolores just ends up painting by the river. The third time we see their storyline, there's a major difference. Dolores breaks the storyline because she's reacting to her father not feeling well, which is never supposed to happen. This is a mistake. Now, they don't get to break the storyline too much. Before they can return to the farm, the slaughter happens in the town and Teddy gets shot. But it's important for us to note that the storylines are breaking apart, and not in ways that they were designed to, because they are designed to react to guests changing things. And they have primary storylines where Dolores meets Teddy and goes to the farm, and then Dolores has her secondary storyline where she goes to the river and paints. But again, this third one is not part of any of that. It is all complete improvisation and is part of a breadcrumb trail that we've seen in this first episode, letting us know that they are going to lose control of the hosts in the park. I'm very excited for the next episode of WestWorld. I love the topic of consciousness and what is consciousness, and they have found a fantastic way to continually question what is the nature of our reality and what is our purpose for being here. Go ahead and like the video if you enjoyed it. If you know any friends that watch WestWorld, go ahead and share the video with them. You'll have something to talk about. And if you want to make sure you get all our videos on WestWorld, go ahead and subscribe and click the bell to be sure that you are alerted. Thanks for watching and have a great day.